Welcome to another episode of One Idea Away, where we're committed to living more fully, deeply, and consciously. Why? Because when we do, we're calmer, we're clearer, we're more connected, more joyful, and much more alive. On this show, we bring you stories of those that are figuring it out just like us, as well as experts who can shed light on the hows and the whys all of this stuff works. So I want to thank you all for tuning in and sharing and reviewing our show. If you haven't done so yet, please drop us a review. Also, subscribe to the podcast on our feed, whether it's on iTunes or whatever app you happen to be using. And if there's something that stands out in the show, do us a favor. If it makes you think of somebody, share it along, because this show is meant to get the conversation started, not just to drop in for a little inspiration. So with that, let's turn to this week's episode. It's finally here. And today I get to announce and tell you about Uncover, a retreat to create the life of your dreams. Uncover is a 3-day retreat being hosted by One Idea Away. I'm going to be there leading and facilitating the retreat, along with IPEC founder and best-selling author Bruce Schneider. We've secured the beautiful Asilomar Conference Grounds in California, just a 90-minute ride from the Bay Area, for January 18th through the 20th. And then we're going to be at the Garrison Institute in New York, just 50 miles north of the city, sitting atop the bluffs of the Hudson River on March 29th through the 31st. In this retreat, we're going to guide you through the Uncover process. You can actually learn more about that in the book, Uncovering the Life of Your Dreams by Bruce Schneider. And you're going to learn and experience a variety of mindfulness activities, share and connect as a community, and learn through practices and dialogue in a supportive and, yes, judgment-free zone. You see, this is about closing the gap between who you know yourself to be and how you're currently showing up in life. You see, that gap is part of the tension that any of us can feel in our hearts and minds, because you know there's something more for you to experience, to enjoy, to share, and to contribute. You may feel as if who you are is covered up by your responsibilities and circumstances and priorities, and we don't want to see anyone lose any more years of their lives not being who they fully and truly are. It's time for that to end, and over these 3 days it will. You will uncover your personal path to happiness, freedom, and aligning with your true desires. I cannot wait to meet you in person. I can't wait to spend the time with you over these 3 days. It's going to be an extraordinary experience. Just go to oneideaaway.com/retreat. That's oneideaaway.com/retreat. I promise you, you will never forget this experience. For this week's riff, I'd like to invite you to just stop. Seriously, just stop and pause and breathe and begin to take more and more of your experience in. You see, one of the greatest pieces of advice that I've ever received was actually in advance of my wedding. You see, coming up actually on my 15-year wedding anniversary, and maybe that's part of why it's fresh on my mind. A friend of mine who had gotten married just a little while before me had told me that during the banquet, the reception following the wedding ceremony and everything else, that it'd be crazy and chaotic and people trying to wish us congratulations and dancing and eating and gathering and all that type of stuff was going to be going on. And it was going to be so easy for this day that we had spent months and months and months and months planning to go by in the blink of an eye. And so his advice to me was to simply take one moment where myself and my wife, Dawn, would sit back. We would pause. We would stop. We'd look around the room and get present to everything that was going on and everything that was there. Because in all likelihood, that'd be one of the very few moments that we remembered all day long. It's one of the moments that would stand out in our memories of that experience, of that particularly special day for many years to come. And honestly, it's been true, and it's something that sticks out in my mind. And so it was on my mind not only as my own anniversary comes up, but even with the hustle and bustle of the holidays. You see, we're busy enough in our regular lives with, running around from appointment to appointment, trying to get things done, take care of the kids, run around to different errands and all the different things that we've got to do to take care of ourselves, maybe even squeezing in a workout or two. And then you throw the holidays on top of that with the cooking and baking and inviting and shopping and everything else that goes on. So our lives just get busier and busier and busier. And yet, it's the moments that we stop. It's the moments we pause and breathe and connect to a little bit of stillness and silence within ourselves that allows us to look out into the world and see the fun choreograph of movements that's going on. That allows us to stop and see how people are actually connecting and what it is that we're connecting to ourselves. It allows us to appreciate all that's around us that normally we may completely miss as it goes by in the blink of an eye. And so this holiday season, what I really truly wish for you is that in the midst of all the hustle and bustle, the wrapping of gifts and the tearing open of gifts, all of those types of things that may occur, just take a moment and pause to stop what you're doing and to pull back for a moment, to look around and soak up that memory and soak up that experience, to get really present with it. You see, I find that several things happen when we do this. The first is that we quite literally can become more fulfilled. You see, we take in more of our experience when we pause and get present to it. We literally have the ability to fill ourselves up with more and fill ourselves up with more of the beauty and the connection and all the things that we're grateful for when we do this. That to me is something that enriches our lives, and we feel better about where we are at any given time. It allows us to refocus on what's important within that moment, what matters most to us, and keep our attention there. What it also does for us is it gives us that moment to collect ourselves, to get away from the hustle and bustle and the clutter of everything that's going on in our lives as well as in our minds, and allows us to get still, to just pause and breathe and allow ourselves to look around and soak up all that's there. You see, these things go hand in hand, getting still and becoming present, and then ultimately becoming fulfilled. You see, what to me is behind all of that when we do breathe and stop and pause is we connect to a sense of peace. Isn't that what the holiday season is all about? Peace through connection, peace through family, through relationship, through love, peace through our words and through our deeds. It's what we want to spread out into the world at this time of year and hopefully all year long. But to get to that sense of peace that allows us to share and to connect from that place, first, we've got to stop. We've got to pause. We've got to take a moment to get really, truly, fully present and take it all in. And that's when we realize the peace is already there. And that's the place that we want to share from. Those are the memories that we want to be able to hold on to. It's the way that we want to experience life. Happiness and fulfillment, that sense of purpose and connection, they all emerge from that still and quiet place inside that we call peace. So we're going to be taking some time off for the next few weeks from the Riff as we get through our own holiday season here at One Idea Away. And we're going to be back in the new year with some new programming, new content, a tremendous amount of things that we've got working in process for you right now. And we're looking forward to that. But in the meantime, I wish you a season filled with peace, connection, presence, and joy. And step back and take the time to enjoy it all. Thank you. And until 2019, much love. Hey, as this episode is wrapping up, you may be asking yourself, what's next? Well, what's next? I hope that you've been joining in on the monthly live cast that we do for the One Idea Away community. You see, every single month, we gather some incredible guests that are talking about the types of transitions that they've made or are even in the midst of making to create a happier life, to create a life that's more aligned to who they truly are. So we're talking about happiness and purpose. We're talking about community. We're talking about how do we have that modern day success, meaning how do we succeed in our happiness, our well-being, our quality of life, while also making a great living, making the difference in the contributions that we are each meant to make. So when you get involved in the monthly live cast, you can ask some questions of our guests. You can participate with some of the other community members and the ongoing chat that just seems to explode as we get into these deeper conversations throughout the whole hour that we do this. So the only way, though, that you can get these special episodes is when you register for them. It is free, but you got to register to get involved and continue the conversation as we're always talking about. So just hop on over to oneideaaway.com/livecast. And oneideaaway.com/livecast. Join us there, get involved in the conversation, get involved in the community. I can't wait to continue the conversation with you. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you really enjoyed it, do me a favor, let us know. You can keep the conversation going and send us a message on our Facebook page, which is simply One Idea Away. Go ahead and tag me in the post or even just direct messages. Also, I would be incredibly grateful if you could share this episode along with someone that you believe could benefit from hearing the ideas and the messages that we got into. That's pretty much why we do this. So you can just go ahead and share it from your app or email it along, whatever works for you. The point is to share, to talk, to discuss, and keep the dialogue going, because it's in those conversations that ideas can take hold and create profound shifts in perspective. That's what allows us to live life more fully, deeply, and consciously. As always, we would love to see you post a review for the podcast in iTunes or whichever app you're using. And until next time, remember, you're never more than one idea away from a whole new reality. This is Luke Iorio and One Idea Away, signing off.